Before working with the gel cap, be certain that your hands and the voice prosthesis are completely dry. Failure to do so may cause premature dissolution of the gel cap. For gel cap insertion, you'll need 4 items: the flange introducer, the voice prosthesis, the inserter stick, and the gel cap. When loading the voice prosthesis into the gel cap, you will only use the short end of the gel cap. Discard the gel cap body or the longer end of the gel cap. Take the voice prosthesis in one hand and use your other hand to fold the esophageal flange tightly in half toward the center of the device. Fold the outer edges of the folded flange tightly against each other and hold the voice prosthesis in this folded position. Insert the folded portion of the esophageal flange into the gel cap. Gently tuck and push the folded esophageal flange as far as possible into the gel cap. Use the curved side of the flange introducer and, following the curve of the voice prosthesis body, gently tuck the remaining portion of the folded esophageal flange completely into the gel cap. Do not use any sharp or serrated instruments to avoid damaging the voice prosthesis or the gel cap. The esophageal flange should be folded in a forward position and completely enclosed inside the gel cap. Place the voice prosthesis on the inserter stick and lock the safety strap onto the safety peg. You are now ready to place your voice prosthesis.
Hi, I am Jennifer Cameron Shirley, and I am a speech pathologist that has been working with Nino for approximately 10, 12 years? 14 years. Whoa, okay. And we're going to change Nino's voice prosthesis today. So I'm going to use this light to look in. I see. So right here we see his stoma, and his voice prosthesis is that little donut-shaped thing right in there. And that sits in the wall between his trachea and his esophagus. So when you plug and breathe, I'll have you say ah. Good. The air is shunted out Nino's mouth. So it sounds like speech. Okay. So I'm gonna get my tools ready here. And Nino has a voice prosthesis ready to go.
It's winter here, so he's got a little bit of snot there brushing across it, does he? A little bit of dried.
Yeah, dried secretions. Yeah.
Okay.
So it hasn't been leaking, is that right, Nino?
It's been great for about a month now, you know,
Yeah.
so it's nice November.
Yeah.
So, since November. This is November.
I think it was changed in May. Yeah.
May, I mean,
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
May.
Yeah.
6
Yeah,
months
we
you've been
left,
going.
yeah.
6
Yeah,
months you
that's
keep
right.
it, yeah. Well, good.
Okay. I'm going to do things by the book here. Okay.
Okay, what all do you have there,
I
Jennifer,
have-
lined up?
These forceps. And this
And
is...
they're clamps, are they?
Yes, they're clamps. So they
Okay.
lock.
Okay.
And this is a dilator sizer. So when I pull the voice prosthesis out, I'm going to put this into the puncture. So imagine this was the puncture. It's going to go through, and then I'm going to pull back. These will be on the esophageal side, and this will allow me to measure how many millimeters long the puncture is.
Okay. And we don't necessarily have to do that when we're changing it away
No.
from you.
No.
You're just doing it to check and see that
Check and see
everything's
that
normal.
everything's the same. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is shine my light in here, and I am just going to grab the edge of the voice prosthesis. So before I change the voice prosthesis, I just want to make sure and see if everything looks normal, and everything does. So his stoma looks really good, and as far as I can see of the puncture, it looks really good. So I'm just going to
Okay.
put the dilator sizer in.
And you just keep that spaced anyway while you're in the
Right.
process of changing the stoma. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And so right now, Nino can swallow things, but he can't talk.
Right.
Right. So I'm just gonna pull back, and I'm seeing it's about 12 millimeters.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you're changing this at home, you wouldn't do that, measuring. You
Right.
would just have the dilator there to hold the space open
Exactly.
until you put the replacement in.
Exactly. And
Okay.
if for some reason Nino's voice prosthesis were to fall out, this would be a good thing to have on hand, this dilator,
Right,
to put in there until you can get someone to change the voice prosthesis.
right. He wouldn't be able to talk, but he
could
would
still
be
eat and
fine.
drink.
Yes, he could continue life. He'd just have to keep his mouth shut.
So you could still drink your wine, which is the important thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna get you to hold this, Nino. And I'm just gonna get the voice prosthesis ready. There you go, excellent. Just a little higher than that. Good, perfect.
Okay. So at this point we are.
So this is a 20 French 14 millimeter voice prosthesis. Now I measured 12 millimeters, but Nino sometimes, his tissues tend to inflame a little bit.
Yeah, if he's got a cold.
Yeah, upper respiratory infection, and because he's gone from the country, we want to make sure that there's room for that. So
Right.
I'm going to put an extra 2 millimeters
Right.
there.
And we like that.
Yes.
It's never caused any issues.
Never caused any issue.
And if he has a little cold or gets a little rough or something, no
Or if
problem.
you have a reflux episode or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So I have some gel caps here.
Okay.
So this is the voice prosthesis. So this is the side that you see from the trachea. So this is what you see when you look through the stoma. And this is the esophageal side. And it sits in the wall between the trachea and the esophagus, just like that.
Right.
Right. So what I'm gonna do, so it's easier to insert, is to put this esophageal flange inside of a gel cap. So I'm just gonna fold it.
So the gel cap, you put it in for as a delivery system, like a little
Exactly.
missile, and it melts then, huh?
It
Within a
does,
few
yeah.
minutes. And then lets the flanges.
Yeah, and once I have it inserted, I'm gonna have
Okay,
you,
how did you, will you show that again?
sure, you fold it like a taco.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's folded like this, and you want to make
Kind
sure.
of fold it in a square almost, huh?
Well, do you ever eat quesadillas or anything like that?
Sure.
Okay, so it's just folded just like that.
Okay.
And so I want to use this comes in the voice prosthesis package, and you just use it to push the
it all in
flanges
there.
in there, right?
Just get that thing loaded up and.
And sometimes they're a little bit slippery, but okay. And once it's all loaded in, then you'll see this is the insertion stick. Okay, so I'm going to put that on the insertion stick.
Right. Okay, so let me just
Like
take a
that.
little, get that. So here we have what this looks like right now. See if we can have a good look. There we go. And it's on the insertion stick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So right now what we're going to do is we're going to take out the dilator sizer.
And we want to point out that you've got this clamped down so that
Exactly.
this cannot fall off.
into Nina's airway, right?
Right.
Because we definitely do not want anything to fall into Nina's airway.
Right. So that's how it's loaded.
Yeah.
The this is like a taco. It's pushed in.
Push inside
All
a
of it
jump.
completely inside. And then there's how did you do this tail again?
This is the tracheal side.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a little hole
Right.
that we push over that little stick
Okay.
to make sure it stays securely in place when we
Perfect.
insert it.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna have Nino swallow. So we just want any secretions that might be in his pharynx to be swallowed down.
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna take that out. And then I'm going to push this in the puncture there.
Right.
So I'm gonna have Nino take a little swallow of water. And what happens when he does that is it's going to melt the gel cap on the esophageal side. So those flanges will pop open.
Okay. And how long does that normally take, Jennifer?
I would give it a good minute.
Okay.
Sometimes you can actually feel on the stick but the esophageal flanges have popped open. So there's a little bit of pressure. And what you want to do is twist it all the way around to make sure that it can twist clockwise and counterclockwise.
Right.
If it can't, the esophageal flanges probably haven't popped open.
Okay.
And I want to give it a little bit of a pull.
Right.
And if it's not coming out, then we know it's pretty securely in there.
Okay,
just
so
gonna go
you
around
think
to the
that
other
gel
side.
cap is now,
I do.
okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this with my forceps and I'm going to pull out the insertion stick.
Okay. And there it is,
There it is
fully
in the
loaded.
puncture. And I'm going to have Nino voice.
Hello.
There you go.
Feels good.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Looks nice and clean.
The last thing I'm going to do is have Nino swallow some water so I can make sure that there's no leak
Right.
either through or around the voice prosthesis. Perfect. And there's no leak. So the
Perfect.
last thing to do is to carefully,
And try not to leave a big pointy thing, is that right?
So I'm just going to pull, very slight pressure.
When you cut it from the top edge.
Snip. Oops, that little tiny piece doesn't want to come. There.
Okay.
Excellent. There we are.
So then, and then, you try and keep any of those raw edges down toward the bottom so that they don't irritate the skin, is that right?
That's what I do every day, 2 times, and twist it around till when I see the...
Because those little sharp
got back.
edges, when they used to
There's
make
an-
them out of a softer silicone, it never caused an issue, but this harder plastic, it causes a darn issue.
Darn.
That's what Spafford says, that they change the silicone approach. And it's like a hard silicone now, that's what it was. That.
So I see you've got a little bit of snot stuck between the plastic and the skin. Is that a problem?
No.
Underneath?
Nope, that's okay.
No, that all comes out, huh?
Yeah. As soon as
Okay.
Nino coughs, it will come out.
Okay, so that's it.
That's it.
All done. Any of those little skin lumps that cause you concern at all, Jen?
Which skin lumps do you have?
Let me see. So, see on the left here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those are just,
I think those are just little bits of granulation tissue.
yeah.
And sometimes that's because of the flanges of the voice prosthesis rubbing against the side of the
Just
trachea.
an irritation.
And that's what the...
And Spafford says, Dr. Spafford says, leave those alone until they
Absolutely.
become an issue.
If they start to cover the flange, like they start to grow in towards the center, then it would become an issue, but it's not an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
So leave well enough alone.
Yeah,
All right.
But last year we had to cut it too.
that's
We
true. I
had
do
to
remember
do it
that.
3 times,
Yeah.
But they kept growing and then stopped.
So that took all of like less than 12 minutes.
Yeah, good.
So thank you, both of you,
welcome.
because that's what I'm going to follow when I'm the one that has to change it. Or our ENT in Santorini, where we're
Yes,
going.
indeed.
Anyway, thanks very much.
You are so welcome.
It's a lot of history.